good. Sorry for all the confusion.
No. I think it was more so the whole. I guess you're in a different time zone.
No, we scheduled it for like the 10th of February, and then you asked if we could reschedule it for the beginning of February. And so I had two different times on my calendar.
Oh, okay.
And
Inside secret: I'm on vacation from my job, so I'm trying to get as many of these done before I go back. So
nice.
The goal was 50. I'm hoping for 30 now.
Okay, yeah, it's a lot of work doing podcasts.
This is the most fun I've had. Like, I'm having so much fun doing these. I think I found my sweet spot. So
so what is it that you do?
At my job?
Or just what in regards to the podcast? Do you have a side hustle you want to?
My goal is to sell coaching and course creation. But right now, my whole goal is to highlight other people and what they're doing and hopefully, help you build some audience. You probably already have some, but build you some more, because all these people that I've interviewed, there's a lot of cross section there. And so hopefully we'll all grow from it. That's my goal.
Yeah, I've heard some really good things about like how podcasts can help people like grow their coaching business.
Yeah. And so then, of course, I already have in the back of my mind spinning how to brand yourself using a podcast, how to build a coaching business using a podcast, how to grow your network marketing business with a podcast, whatever. So we'll see. But right now, I just focusing on how I can help other people. And this is kind of my second season. First season, I had 5-10 people. And so the second season, I'm taking a little more serious. The goal was to do 50, so I'd have a half a year worth of stuff, 2 podcasts a week. That was my goal. Doing all 50 while I was on vacation, then editing them and start putting them out 2 a week for 25 weeks, which is about half a year.
Yeah.
That was the goal. But can't force people to come to a podcast.
You are correct about that. And where are you vacationing at, if you don't mind me asking? I'm
not. This is my vacation.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully, the first goal was I have a friend that has his own podcast and own magazine business, and he was supposed to get me 20 people. He said it would be no problem, and it hadn't quite worked out yet. They were all going to be paying to be on the podcast and highlighted, because I'm doing something that not many podcasters do. It's all about you when you're here. My thought process is we're going to talk about you. I'll just go over it now. The outline is I'm going to say Monica, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Whew. So many names run through my head. So Monica. So when we open, I'll be like, so welcome Monica Miller to the podcast. Let's hear a little bit about you, and then you're going to go tell us a little bit about your story, or as much as you feel comfortable with from birth to now. And how you've gotten to the place you are now, right? And then we'll go into we'll talk about some principal things, what characteristics got you to where you are, and then I'll ask what you're doing now, what's on the horizon. Talk about that. If you have any courses or anything you're selling, then there'll be the time to say that. And I said, where can people find you? And then we'll do that, and then that'll be the end of the podcast.
Okay. And when do you think this podcast will be coming out?
Give me the rest of this week to figure that out, because
there's no rush. I was just wondering.
Yeah. And then after we close the podcast portion, I'm just recording all this. Yeah, I'm recording. I just want to make sure I got through a whole podcast and hadn't recorded this one guy. I have to call him back. I have to apologize. But then I'm going to give you a video testimonial that you can use on your website.
Oh.
And if you want to reciprocate, that's fine. If not, no big deal. But that's a benefit, because like everybody's trying to get social proof. Everyone's trying to gain exposure. Great way to do it. They don't know Chris Collier. They don't know as much as they should, but might not know Monica as much as they should, but they could. Oh, well, hey, look, that guy, he looks like he knows what he's talking about. I'm going to buy from her just because he said so. It works for everyone else.
Yeah. And once you give me your like the video testimony, I would definitely do that for you because I know how important it is. I'm going to mute my computer. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and that way I can see your structure and not be able to replicate that same structure.
I'm going to do it here right after the end of the podcast. So you'll be right here.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Conquer with Chris podcast where we have the wonderful and talented Monica Miller. Welcome to the podcast, Monica.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're glad to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the people know who you are and kind of how you got to the place you are now.
Yeah. All right. So my name is Monica Miller, and I help female entrepreneurs get their voice out into the world by using their voice. And I do that by content and marketing and messaging strategies. My main goal is to help them build six-figure businesses so that way they can do the things they want in life and make a bigger and greater impact. My story did not start out this way. I actually had a speech impediment when I was a little girl. And I remember people always asking me, Monica, can you slow down? Monica, can you repeat that? Or they would turn to my oldest sister and ask her, what does she say? So as you can probably imagine, Chris, as a 5-6-year-old little girl, who loved to talk, by the way, that was just not flying by me. So I delved into writing. And little did I know that writing was actually the thing that I began cultivating to bring to life my business. And so I cultivated it through story writing and books. And I actually published my first book in, let me see, whenever I was graduating high school. So I was like 18 years old. I published my first book. It was a fiction book. And then I decided to go to college to get the credibility behind my name. Of course, as you know, nobody cares about that. And the things they taught me then is not what I use now. So that's kind of funny, but I had a great experience. And then I opened up my entrepreneur doors in 2014. And just in the last year, I really focused on women entrepreneurs and getting their messages out there, because over the years, one thing I kept seeing and hearing is, I want to share my message. I have something to say. I have a story, but I don't know how to get it out there, or I'm scared, or I don't know where to start. And I'm here to change that narrative and to help those who are in business to create more impact through their messages and their marketing, because it's so important that you show up, just like we're showing up right now.
Wow, that's so great. So let me get this straight. You took your pain point and it caused you to develop a great writing skill.
Yeah.
And so because like to me, like writing solves a whole lot of stuff. Like for me, I tried blogging. It doesn't work as well for me because I'm a very alive person, and sitting down, I'm gonna fall asleep. And my whole thing is like I love interaction like this. So that's why, like, you found your spot, right? You found your spot writing and helping other people find their voices. That's huge. It's huge. From an aspect of like, I talked to another person today, and they said their community had been overlooked and run down for years. But I think female entrepreneurs have been overlooked for a long time.
Agreed.
And I love hearing female entrepreneurs taking their place. Let them hear them roar, type thing. I really like them coming onto the scene because I like variety. I don't think that any one person or one type of person has all the answers, because if they did, then everyone would be happy. But
Exactly.
uh-huh.
I said exactly. And, one thing that I really love helping my clients and people do is coming from that place of speaking in truth and love, because there's enough hate and anger in the world right now. And I feel that we need more women entrepreneurs, and just women in general, speaking in that love and truth and grace versus what we hear on social media, for example, right now.
I don't get on much.
I don't blame you.
I go to connect with people, and then I disappear back to my podcast, my little island here,
Yeah.
island of sanity. So you're helping female entrepreneurs right now. Do you have so what's in the works? What are you developing? What's going on now?
Yeah, wow. This year is really focusing for me into getting, being on more stages, whether that's through podcasting, like right now. Some of it for me is speaking, getting on to virtual stages. Like some states they haven't opened up their towns yet, or so they're doing a lot more virtual speaking. So I'm tapping into that. Another thing I'm developing is a year-long program where I help my clients identify the 5 things that helps them get to their goal, which is usually that 6-figure mark. And from there, I just lead them on that journey of creating that vision, knowing what their message is, creating that marketing calendar, or just knowing how to market themselves, and then creating that generating revenue idea that is going to help them set themselves up and also create more impact. I believe that when we make more money, we get to have a greater impact. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's something that I'm for, and I want most of my clients want that too. And the last thing we talk about is fulfillment. So I'm coming up with that year-long program that's in the works. I'm accepting applications and clients for that now, and I'm excited about that. And one other thing I hope to unleash in the summer is a group coaching program for those who cannot afford to work one-on-one with me, or who like that group atmosphere and work better in groups. Then I will, offer that. So that's a couple of things in the works.
Wow.
And another thing, real quick, is I'm doing more interviews on my Facebook page. So finding other entrepreneurs who could, who could benefit my audience, and my audience could benefit them. Getting them more on my Facebook wall so we can just talk about certain topics that I don't talk about in my program. So they have this additional resource to go to. And this, of course, female entrepreneurs, showcasing them. And I really am excited about that.
That's great. It's great. I think it's important that I was talking to another guest, and we talked about the passion that someone has and their purpose, what you're created to do, right? When you marry those two things, you find your authority, you find your power, because then you're in that sweet spot, and it's just so easy. I'm not saying, and when I say easy, I'm not saying it's not difficult, because you still have challenges, you still have things you have to go through, but you don't mind because it's not work, because you're in passion and you're in purpose, and there's power there. You can do it all day, right?
Yeah. And, one thing that I would love to add to that is once you understand exactly, once you get to your passion and your power, you get to understand what is going to bring you the most in your time return. So then you can begin scaling yourself back by creating more revenue, because you know exactly what activities you need to do on the daily or on the weekly. And you need to do them. And then that way you can work however much you want. Right now, I'm only working 3 days a week, and I'm able to get everything I want done in those 3 days, so I can spend most of my time with my 3-year-old son and my husband. And some people don't want to create that, and that's okay. And it's just whatever you want to create. But one thing that I've seen is once I understand like what I need to do, like what kind of, what do I need to do as far as marketing and generating activities, what do I need to do there? Then I know I can plan out my time more wishly for me.
Wow, that's great. So let's just say there's a young lady watching this or listening to this podcast.
Mhm.
What would you tell them if they're just thinking about starting out? Is this a good time for them? What should they focus on? And what should they do if they're coming online and they're looking for some way to make money or whatever?
Yeah. Okay. So I would say the first thing to do is you want to understand who your audience is. That's the first thing. Who are you serving? And really get to know them. And this is going to be an ongoing process, by the way. Like, don't think you're going to do it once, because your audience is going to change over the years. And it's never hurt to go back and um, really understand your audience every couple months. So this is where you want to come up with some market research. And that's when you start asking people who you think would be great clients, and ask them, hey, could we do some market research? And I could just ask them some questions, and that way I could get feedback and begin to understand where your struggles are. What do you want your life to look like? So I could best, come up with content and serve you. And so when you start doing that, you start to get content ideas, and this is your marketing ideas. For example, when I get all my market research questions, when I ask my market research questions, people tell me most of the time, they don't know what to post. They don't know how to get clients. They're feeling overwhelmed. And so now I can begin creating content that's saying like, hey, are you feeling overwhelmed? Maybe you feel like you're spinning your tires because you're not getting traction on social media. You don't know how to market yourself, or you feel inadequate with marketing yourself. Now I get to hit on those pain points, and then I can bring them into the pleasure island, which I've also asked in my market research questions, so I can better understand, well, what do they want to create out of life? Whether that's travel, massages, doing whatever they want, whenever they want, buying new things, hiring a VA. I mean, it could be multiple things. So you really want to understand your audience, the pain and the pleasure island. So that's going to be your marketing. And then you want to begin using that language and begin putting it out there, on social media, on video. If you want to blog, you could do blogging. There's all these ways to promote yourself. And that's the number one thing I would say, is just make a calendar where you know what to post and when to post. And this is all things that I teach my clients how to do, because I also know that they fall into inconsistency. So you just want to make sure you have a plan. Okay, once you know your content, you want to plan it, and then begin identifying what activities you need to do to get to make money. And that means, for a lot of us, it's reach outs and follow up. Follow up is key, and just start getting out in front of people, whether that's through podcasting, speaking. It could be guest blogging. It could be in multiple ways. You just have to find your way and the way that your audience receives it. So that's the top couple of things I would say to do for us. Yeah, identify your audience, get your marketing down, and understand what you need to do to generate revenue.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I like to talk about when I'm talking to people and they ask me about the customer avatar, their target customer. I always say, oh, you always want to get that, but then you want to niche it down, because just like a Facebook ad that you might run this week, you might find out that it's ineffective in the sense of the buyer. You may have a target customer. That target customer, yeah, it'll change over time, but some of it will just get more narrower and narrower till you get to the place where you got that sweet spot where you put out $10, you're going to get 100 back.
Exactly. And also, if somebody's new and they're starting out, or maybe you've been at this game for a while, I just want to remind people that your audience is going to change as you up level. Like for me, how I started even this time last year, they're not really my audience anymore, because I'm up level in my life, my business. So that means my audience needs to up level. So that means I'm now back kind of at that drawing board. So now I'm doing my market research again, getting on calls, asking people, because this is also a great way to let people know, hey, I help my clients do this, or I help people just like you, solve this problem. If you want to have a conversation about that, let's get on another call, because it's a great way to start vetting if this person would be a good fit for you or not. And some people may say yes, and some people may say no, and that's okay. It's all practice at this point. But yeah, you want to just remember that your audience may up level, or as you up level, your audience up level, and that's okay too.
And while you're doing that market research and seeing if that person's a good fit for your program or course or not, it also sees if your course is even viable, right?
Exactly.
You find out real quick if, well, and you might have leveled up too quickly for everybody, or your course might not be. That's one of the fears that people have, is having a course that's not marketable, right? Something that people don't want to buy, like underwater basket weaving in a fire. It just I'm sure someone would be interested in it, but I don't think that's gonna be a really high level course that a lot of people can just cash in on. So yeah. So where can people find you, Monica?
Yeah, you can find me over at my website. It's called monicawrites.com. Writes as if you're writing a book, not as if I'm right. Of course, I think I am, but so you can just go to monicawrites.com. You can also follow me on Facebook, and you can just follow me at Monica Writes on Facebook. And if you want to become my Facebook friend, I love having new friends, and that is where I do most of my teaching. I do weekly Facebook Live videos or more, where I go in depth about your messaging, your marketing, your fulfillment, your how to generate income, how do you get clients, all that on my Facebook. And so I'll give that to Chris, and then I'm sure that'll be in the show notes. So you just find me at Monica Lynn, Lynn. And so that's where you can find me and hang out with me and get to know me a little bit more.
Wow. Well, thank you for being on the show, Monica. It's been a pure pleasure, and look forward to seeing great things from you. I don't think this will be the last time we interact. I have a suspicion that we'll be interacting quite a bit. So those of you watching or listening, thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, share, and have a great day.
Bye for now.